Welcome. My name is Alistair Shirazi, and I'm here with Jen Katzir of WeFixIt Garage Doors. We interview entrepreneurs to find out their stories, their journeys, their successes, their wins, and so that we can all learn from their journeys as well. So, Jen, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited to be here.
Great. I'm going to give a couple of bullet points on your amazing company. So, Jen is one of the few female entrepreneurs in the garage door home service industry, and they were actually able to turn it into a franchisor. And they grew their business 10x from 2020, from $500,000 in revenue to projecting $5 million in 2023. Amazing work. And they already have one franchisee up and running. So today we're going to talk about the garage door industry, your franchising ability, and just home services in general, and how you're able to scale your company. So, Jen, what services do you guys offer?
So, we offer residential and commercial garage door repair and installation services. So, if your garage door breaks, which they tend to do, we fix the springs, openers, we install new doors if you want to upgrade your home. We also have contracts and work with larger commercial companies like FedEx. We've worked with Walmart, and we do anything, that the garage door needs to be repaired or replaced. And then we
Cool.
also do automatic gates. So those are like garage doors but sideways, and we can do those as well.
Awesome. And how long have you guys been in business for?
Since 2015,
Okay. And how many employees do you have?
right now we have 15 employees. So there are 10 technicians and 5 folks who work in the office answering the phone, scheduling, and doing the back end.
Awesome. And how much revenue? So you mentioned $5 million in revenue for 2023. Is that right?
Yes, and that doesn't count our franchise on the coast. So that's just this location that I am the owner of, with
Okay.
along with my husband.
Where are you guys located?
We're in Durham, North Carolina, and our service area is from High Point, North Carolina, over to Raleigh, and then down to Fayetteville.
Nice. And what are you most proud of as an entrepreneur and as a business owner?
I'm most proud of the meaningful employment we give people. For me, that's what does it. I really like that the work that I do adds to our business and grows our business. So whatever I do, I see the results. But I also love that all of our employees have jobs that they like. That for me has given me a lot of joy. I love that when all of us have input and everyone in the business can sort of alter how it works. So, and then every time we have a new idea that works and they don't all work, that's a real boost of sort of dopamine and serotonin. So it's really exciting. We change and evolve a lot a year, and that's kind of what keeps me going.
Awesome. And can you tell me some of the advice you may have for entrepreneurs just getting started?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that I would say is in the first couple years, whatever you pick to do, you are going to eat shit. You are going to do everything. You are going to be, I remember one New Year's Eve, re we had to re-clean this van that an employee had left that we needed to get ready for a big job on New Year's Day, and that's how I spent my New Year's Eve. And I rode along in the van with my husband while he was the only technician, and we had our 2 dogs in there. And I was on a laptop next to him while he did the jobs. We were out till 10 p.m. some nights. So, and every time we had to undercut our prices to beat everybody else so that we could just get jobs in the beginning. So in the beginning, you have to do and have your hands in everything. At least I see it that way, no matter what job you're doing. And just know that you won't have to do that for long. So if you do it that way, it's going to pay off in the end. You're really going to build something that you know every part of and you know every angle of. The other bit of advice I would say, we didn't learn this until about 2018, and maybe you couldn't do it until you're a few years in, but we decided that we didn't want to work with anyone, whether it be like another company or a partner or an employee, that it wasn't a good deal or there wasn't good vibes, honestly. And that's something that was hard to do because we thought, gosh, we're going to lose money if we don't work with Walmart, for instance. But they didn't pay well, and it wasn't a high profit margin, and it wasn't enjoyable to work with them. And so we cut them off. We've cut off dispatchers, and the main reason that people get fired from working from us is purely attitude. So that has, because it's our job, it's our like night, day, everything. So we want good people around us, that we keep happy and that they want to keep us happy. And it's created a really enjoyable workplace. And I think it's actually made us that profitable. So stick with your gut and surround yourself with people and companies that are going to make you happy, because this is your life, like every day, all day.
Awesome. So a couple things I heard in there. One thing was about in the beginning how you had to kind of lower your prices to just kind of make your footprint in the market. And
Hmm.
I'm curious how you guys eventually were able to translate or to make a transfer from that into being able to charge. I'm guessing you guys are charging more prices now, right? So how were you able
Oh,
to
yeah.
transition from like a low cost provider to a premium provider?
We did it gradually over the years. So it wasn't ever like a big, all of a sudden, we're doubling our prices. It was just always we got a little bit more. The more quality our work was done, the quicker that we were doing it, the more services we were able to offer, and the more confident we got in our skills, we would up prices, 10% every once in a while. And that was something that nobody ever noticed. And then by the time that COVID hit, that was actually a really good time for us. We were able to do a dramatic increase in our pricing because that matched our skill level. We just had really grown after those 4 years. After 4 years, you kind of know a lot about what's going on. So we were able to do a big jump in price increase.
Okay. And how did you even get into the garage door business? I mean, it's not something that you can like learn on YouTube, for example. I mean, cleaning and carpet cleaning and that kind of stuff, they're pretty easy to learn, but how did you get into the garage door business?
So this is what's so great about the garage door business of any home service business is you can't learn it. And even really skilled DIYers, they can't fix their own spring. So there's a real need for you. Like there's a very specific knowledge. And my husband just happened to have some friends who started a garage door company and they learned this in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so they told him, "Hey, there's this great thing that we could teach you and you could open up your own." So he learned for a couple months and started his own and hadn't used hand tools before that point. So taught himself, he would be in the middle of building a door and he would need one more screw to finish it. And he would go to Home Depot, buy the screw, and come back. So, he learned on the job this very specific type of knowledge. But then once you have it and you know how the garage door works, you know it. Like you can handle almost any issue. And then we hired our first technician we hired, he's now our senior manager. He's been doing it for 30 years. So we have this amazing source of information within our house of someone who's been doing it for a long time. But yeah, it's specific and people need you. And the other reason to get into it is that like I said, people can't do it. They need you to just come out, fix it, and leave. You're not
Mm,
trying to make their dreams come true. So if you're doing painting or like, gosh, I would never want to do remodeling of homes or kitchens. Like
yeah,
people have a budget and you're always going to go over it and then you have to wait for parts to come in. This is like they
in
call,
and
we
out.
come. It doesn't need to look beautiful, it just needs to work and people are happy. So it's a very happy, randomly happy industry to be in that's highly profitable.
Yeah, and one thing you touched on is learning new skills is it's like unlocking new levels for life. Like once you learn a skill, it's yours forever, and you can continue to make money on that and profit from it from the rest of your life. And so I think I heard somebody say one time that you can lose everything in life, but you have your knowledge and your skills, and so you'll be able to always rebuild because you have knowledge and skills. That's why it's so important to learn new things.
Hmm.
And I want to ask you about hiring and training. So you hired your first employee, and how did you decide who to hire, and what was the training process like to teach that person how to become as proficient as you guys are?
Oh gosh, the first hire was, like I said, he's now our senior manager. And that was, my husband had been the only technician. He'd been answering the phones. He'd been doing a lot for a long time on his own and was like finally, in a couple years, able to have a technician. So we interviewed him at Starbucks and just immediately could tell that he had this amazing knowledge. We really lucked out on our first hire. So he stayed with us ever since. And now he's a senior manager. As far as hiring other people, we this has been the hardest part of it. So the hardest part I think is having employees. But what my biggest like philosophy that I follow for succeeding in work and business is that good customer service, good experience starts with happy employees. So you want to have a good fit for your business. You want to be honest about what the job is. You know, we work 24/7. So when we hire someone, we're very honest, like, is this going to fit in with your life? We don't try to make people fit into our business. It either is going to fit with your life or not. We learned that. We pay really well. We pay well against the market, and we are very flexible about home life balance. So our technicians and our office people are happy. They, get to see their kids when they need to. They go into jobs knowing that if something happens to them, we're going to take care of them. And that for me means we have, over 800 5-star reviews on Google, and that's why, because they're happy.
800 5-star reviews.
Hmm. And
That's
they're all
amazing.
like legitimately earned and like hard earned, and because we do that good of work. But it took from the beginning, like my husband and I knew no matter what, we would take care of a customer.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we
Yeah,
mess up, you just make it right. And you can, and people are willing to let you make it right. So you just have to make it right. But that also means giving back money, redoing doors, whatever it
definitely.
takes, like managers going out. And so whatever it takes, anytime we have an upset customer, we handle it.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, that's why it's kind of easy and hard to maintain a 5-star review rating, because most customers don't want to hurt your business by leaving a bad review. They just want it to be
Mm.
made right. And so a lot of times the low reviews can be prevented by working with the customer.
It's so true.
Um,
And that's also why if you see a low review on a home service business, that's a
red flags.
big red flag. That means they didn't do a thing to try to make that customer happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, okay, I know that providing great service and is the number one thing to get more reviews. But how did you get so many of them? Like, what's your strategy to help? Because customers aren't. It's not really always top of mind for them. So how do you encourage them, or get as many reviews as you guys did?
So I actually took a long time to make up this strategy and found it through a networking group. I joined a networking group of other business owners and was like, this is what I want to figure out. I want to have the most 5-star reviews in our area. So the method that we learned that works, this is really good. This changed everything for us, was so this 5-star review starts with the scheduler. So the
Mm,
scheduler has a great conversation with them, right? And then if they have any kind of problem conversation with them, or like if we're late or something, the scheduler tags it as no review. So already we're not going to
mm,
send that person a link. We know that
yep,
they might not be into it. So
yep.
starts there. Then we do the job. And then if the technician feels like that customer had a great experience, they say these words to them. I hope you had a great experience with me. If you did, I'm going to send you, a link. And I would like to ask you a favor, leave me a 5-star review. I do get special recognition. And then at that
Mm,
point, they tag the job and the office immediately sends the link.
mm.
And that blew us up immediately. And it made the biggest difference, honestly, because that is the game. Google is the game.
So what I heard there was you're focusing on the technician and you encourage them to rate the technician, and that they get special recognition if they get good reviews. So it's
Hmm.
not about some company that they haven't really they don't know about. It's about the technician that was in their home and provided the great service. Is that right?
That's exactly right. And that's why the word, will you do me a favor? It
Hmm.
connects the customer with the technician. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I do want to do Tyler a favor, or, Devin a favor. And they get their name when they're coming out. So it's about that relationship.
Yeah. And what about you mentioned, so what kind of CRM are you using?
We use House Call Pro. We actually just switched over there this year. We used Work Is for 7 years and had to switch because they just weren't having the features we want. So that is another thing that we're doing this year that's going to expand our business, is having sort of a higher end CRM that does matter. Customers can track the technician with a link. It shows how far away they are from the job. There's all these other sort of features that are very customer tech oriented that are making it easier for us.
Awesome. Now, you said that the experience starts with the scheduler, as you call them. How much of that is involved? How much of sales is involved in the scheduler's job? Is it more of a scheduler, or is there an aspect of sales involved as well?
You don't want, or at least in our opinion, and we've talked a lot about this, a lot of sales on the scheduler end, because garage doors isn't something that a lot of people know about. The person in the garage can't even explain to you what's wrong. So it's really inappropriate for someone on the phone to even try to troubleshoot with them because they'll say, I need a new garage door. And they just need
Mhm.
an opener. They call the opener the remote. So if we tried to sell, we really aren't supporting the
Yeah.
technician of walking in. So we try not to. And some people want quoted prices. So we'll do virtual estimates, we'll do estimates with photos, we'll do what the customer needs, but we try to get real information first. So it's not much of sales, but what it is being warm and friendly, being supportive, letting them know that they'll be taken care of, and more so than anything, setting the tech up with the information they need to like walk in with success. So they know what the
Mhm.
issue is, they know what the person said, that sort of thing.
And on the theme of sales, is there an aspect of sales when the technician arrives to the home? Like, how are you maximizing the opportunity of working with each customer?
So this is interesting, and I think this is really where we differentiate ourselves, and where being sort of local and wanting to take care of people. So garage doors, because people can't do it, there's a real chance for exploiting people. And you'll see the cost of garage door services range vastly because of that. Because people don't know what it costs. It's this dangerous spring and their car's stuck inside. So in that way, there's a lot of people that do upsell a lot. But a lot of our technicians come to us because they're like, I don't like the high pressure sales. You don't need to do sales in garage doors. It's like it's broke, it's
Mhm.
selling itself. But we do offer options because some people they don't want to see you again for 10 years. They're like, just
Yeah.
do whatever it takes to like make this better. And I don't want this to ever happen again. So there's you can fix your one spring now, or you can fix both, or you can get this, lifetime warranty. So we do offer options, and that has been good for us as far as sales. But there's not a lot of sales, at least in our perspective, involved in garage doors. There's just training, telling people about what their options are and letting them choose.
What is your average ticket? Average ticket sale, like your average service call out. What are you earning on average per call?
It's anywhere between 400 and 550, depending kind of on the technician, honestly, and the season.
Hmm. And that's mostly just the labor part of it, or there's parts usually on top of that as well, or is that kind of the whole thing?
That's the whole thing. So that's the average sales, including door sales, including just labor. A lot of people back into their garage doors. That might be something that not
Mm,
everybody knows about, but a lot of people back into the garage doors. So
awesome.
that's really
Sounds fun.
tricky to fix. Yeah, that's really tricky to fix. Like, it's very hard. You need to know how to do that. It's also dangerous. So that's just labor, but that happens a lot. Mhm.
Hmm. Okay. And, I'm thinking about my only experience calling a garage door repair person, and they left a sticker in my garage that says I can call them when I need help. So I'm curious about how you guys are retaining customers, and how do you turn a one-time customer into a lifetime customer?
So yeah, we do a magnet. We feel like stickers are a little intrusive, but a lot of people do stickers. We do a magnet, and we also send you after 3 weeks of service. We've made a playlist of YouTube videos of one of our technicians on like how to take care of your door. So we send
Mm.
you a text that's like, "Hope everything's going well. Here's a way that you can keep your door up to speed." And we find we get a ton of return customers just because we treat them really good in the first place. So that's how we do.
And speaking of which, how often do customers need your services typically? I mean, is it once every 10 years, or is it once every, they don't need a whole lot of maintenance usually, right? It's kind of just for the most part one and done, or are there multiple service that you will provide to one customer?
There is multiple service, and we are seeing a ton of return customers now that it's been, 8 years.
Yeah.
So this is a good time for us with them. But I would say every 5 years is a pretty good average of when you're going to see people. So we're really enjoying the benefits of having been in the business for a little bit longer right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk to me about client acquisition. How are you finding your customers? How do your customers find you?
Well, we've tried everything. Google is the main source. We use Google local service ads, which is particular for home services. So they vet you that you're allowed to go into homes. And they actually have Google Guaranteed, which means Google will pay them back if they didn't enjoy their service. So to get part of that program is costs a lot of money. It's a lot of vetting, but we're part of that. We also get commercial contracts, which I've gotten from taking donuts to property management companies and
I
introducing
love that.
myself and
Love
saying,
that.
hey, you have a bunch of garage doors here. We can help you. So that was always fun to do. We have a good website. We try to stay high ranking, which is fun. The YouTube videos, we've also done road signs. We are now working to get GSA verified, which means that we can do government contracts. So that's part about being woman owned that is super important, is if you're female owned, you get priority preference for those contracts. So we're just going
Okay.
through that option right now, which is a big step. We haven't done flyers for a long time. We used to do Angie's leads, but that's just not worth it. So we've
Yeah,
tried a lot of everything.
it's kind of one of those things where if they need you, they're going to search you out. I mean, it's not really like one of those things that if they see a flyer or something, they're like, oh, maybe I should get a new garage door. It's kind of, for the most part, I mean, I'm sure there are some of those, but it's probably a very small portion. I imagine that it's one of those things that when somebody needs your services, they're going to be reaching out. Is that accurate?
It is. And that's how they reach out. But a lot of people also reach out to friends and family. So trying to get into homeowners association, like they always have like listservs or like vendors that they approve, is a good one, because sometimes they go to they go to their friends and ask them. So we tried to have a presence in the community. We do free garage doors for anyone who's part of a Vets to Vets program, which is for veterans. We try to be part of the community and active in community, so they're in their mind. We're in people's minds when things break down.
What's the process like for the GSA, the government account? Was that something that might be worth it for your average entrepreneur?
I don't know. I will let you know when we figure it out. This is a big risk. So we did this the
Yeah.
same way we did the franchising, is we hired a consultant company and we're paying them money to take us through the process. We figured let specialists do it. And from their perspective, because you can get a GSA contract, a government building that has one garage door, or it could have 50, so
Mhm.
there is opportunity for everybody to fit in there. So we're going to see if this is one of the things where this might be a risk that doesn't pan out, but we'll find out soon.
Okay. But you're paying somebody to help you through the process, right?
Yes.
Okay, good to know.
Yes.
Okay. Speaking of your franchise, let's talk about this. This is a huge part of your business, and this could be the next big chapter of your company. You only have one franchise now, so it's still in the early phases. But how about this? First of all, tell me, why should somebody franchise a WeFixIt garage door company?
This is why we started it, is because we really knew that it would be great for people to choose us as a franchisee. Not only do franchisees, are they just more successful on average than a small business, like 65% of small businesses fail in the first 5 years, and only 5% of franchisees fail. So just to start a franchise first off is great. And then garage doors is very low overhead. You have a person with a truck and some supplies and your phone, and you can do it all with that. So there's just very low overhead to start out. And we realized that we became very quickly competitive in the market with those things like the Google secret of the way that we get Google reviews. So we have a ton of tricks to the trade. I know we have a script and we have a database of knowledge, lessons that we've learned, how to handle an upset customer, how to price out springs. If someone asks you, da 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 da, we have a script for everything. So we have learned all the lessons, and we've learned how to train employees. We've learned how to keep office employees happy. We've learned all the best technology to use. And that's something that we can just give to people on a platter so that they don't have to do the first 3 years that we did. So it gives you this real head start into a company with a lot less risk, and it's not that expensive to start. So that's why people should do it.
Awesome. And yeah, I totally understand what you're saying about it took you guys 3 years to kind of really understand the formula, to find the recipe for success. And if somebody wanted to start their business, let's say a garage door business, well, they would have to go through all of that pain, eating all the shit sandwiches for the first 3 years
Yep.
until they get to the point where they're able to keep their head above water and start to profit. Well, we all pay for lessons one way or the other, whether
Yep.
you're paying a franchise company to help shortcut you to where you want to be, or you're paying with your own time and your own money and your own debt, for example, to start your own business and figure it out on your own. And then you have the ramp up time, which I imagine would be much longer if you're going to do something like this all by yourself. So
Mhm.
a franchise sounds like an amazing option for someone that wants to get going in the industry,
Mhm.
has zero knowledge about the industry. You get the training, you get the support, you
Mhm.
get exactly which tools you need to do to get started, and it sounds like an amazing
Mhm.
deal. So, tell me about why you decided to franchise. What was behind that decision?
We just saw how easy it would be because we've been documenting our business the whole way through, all these lessons learned, to package it and provide it for someone else. So we did a test, and in 2018, we spread to the coast of North Carolina, which is like 3 hours away from here. And we're like, all right, let's open a branch over there and see what happens. And it was wildly successful. It was just like instantly we could make the phone ring, and that's a big deal. I mean, when we were here starting out, it was hard to make the phone ring. So we're like, let's go to the coast, a whole new area, and see if we can make the phone ring, see how many jobs we can get in the first year. And we did 200,000 in the first year in
Wow.
sales. So we're like, oh, okay, we can do this. We can just go bam, bam, and open it up. So we can train a technical person how to do garage doors in 2 weeks.
Two
And
weeks.
then 2 weeks, I know, sounds insane. So that's how to do the basics, right? Like most of the jobs and blah, blah, blah. And then you have our support. And now with FaceTime and everything, our senior managers on FaceTime all the time when there's tricky situations, just providing them the knowledge. So you have that support. So that's why we decided it was like, wow, we can do this. We have the receipts, we have the proof, we did it ourselves. And then we sold that franchise to one of our other senior managers from here, who his two sons work for us. And then he moved one of his sons out there. So now that's what actually our strategy is we're going to open up another LLC in a different branch. We have a huge area, and we're going to start that as its own
Mm,
branch, and then we're going to sell that as a franchise, because if you sell it with customers and advertising, it's even worth more. So,
amazing. So, is that the franchise that you currently have running, or is that a
yes,
different one? Okay,
that's the
got it.
franchise we currently have running, is the coastal one that we sold. We had that open since 2018, and we sold it at the end of last year.
That is such an interesting strategy and even a way to provide much more value to somebody. So someone has the option to, start completely from scratch or learn the business and kind of use your guidance to get up and running. But you've provided an alternative option, which is you've done the groundwork, which for you guys wouldn't necessarily take that long because you have all the expertise, you have all the personnel, you have all the tools, all the knowledge, and you get the ball rolling for somebody and you say, here's a package. It's gift wrapped. It has everything you need. It has customers. It has marketing. It has a Google. It has
Hmm.
website. And you say, here, just run with it. And then somebody
Yep.
can take their business and go with it. That's an amazing option. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. We're really happy about it.
Cool. So, what is the application process, and who is your ideal customer for a franchisee?
Ideal customer is someone who's done garage doors even for a little bit. And they have someone who's going to partner with them to handle the other aspects. So, husband and wife duo is always really nice, really solid friends, something like that. Um, Someone who has either mechanical knowledge or garage door knowledge is great. And that's it. Just real drive. You apply. We definitely want people that are a good match. We're not desperate for anyone. It's only a $20,000 franchise fee. And then the startup ends up being like, including that, somewhere around 35,000. It's like nothing. So there's a lot
Wow.
of people that could say that they could afford this that we wouldn't necessarily want to work with, because we're super hands on. I mean, we're going to be like, you're going to be working with us. So again, we want to pick people that it's going to be a good deal. We've had some people apply that want to be like long distance owners of it and not really have their hands in it, and we've said no. So we
Hmm.
want people who want to do it this way. They want to learn it first, be the first technician, be the first person in the office, and then grow it.
Mm. So under $40,000 to start up a a new franchise. Is that right?
Yep. And then what we did with this one is we said, all right, your royalties are just going to be doubled for the first 3 years. So he
Mm,
had no franchise fee coming in. So we
that's
have ways
interesting.
to do that too, because that one we already knew was up and running. So we know what the royalties are going to look like, and it's going to be, similar to whatever. So we're flexible in that if we have the right person. It's kind of like with our hires of our employees. It's like, if it's the right fit, let's find a way. And we have so far.
So tell me about how you're planning on expanding this franchise offer. How are you planning on finding customers for this franchise offer and
So that's
advertising
what
it?
that's what I'm taking on this year. So TikTok is going to be one of them. So I'm going to be having this all over there. We went to a franchise conference in Florida this year. We work with the franchise creator who made us the franchise, and they help us advertise a bit. So this is a little bit trickier. I'm going to be doing networking events in other states that we think we want to target, because some states you need to be licensed to do garage
Yeah.
doors, which is
Oh, and even a
ones that
franchise, right? You need to be licensed in some places to be a franchise.
yes, but our company handles that. So
Okay.
even companies who want to join us have this great benefit of having this great legal team that handles all the background paperwork of that.
Mm,
So there are some states that are easier to do these things in and not. So we're targeting some states and going to events there. And yeah, we're going to use TikTok. This is like what I'm trying to figure out this year is how to sell it. Ooh, I'm also going to post on Indeed, like looking for technicians in these areas, because I want technicians. And it'll be like, do you want to own your own company?
yeah.
And I think that's going to really attract. A lot of them are like, God, I could do this. My boss
Yeah.
is a jerk. Like, I could do this on my own. But a lot of garage door technicians don't know the business side,
Hmm.
and that's what we would provide them with. It's like, here's how to do this and taxes and all the fun stuff.
Is there any thoughts of offering financing or some kind of financing to help it more accessible to people that may not have the full cash up front?
So that's why we want to do the higher percentage of royalties for the first couple years. So it's no fee, but then instead of 6% royalties, it's some higher amount of royalties for the first few
Hmm.
years. And so then it's like, okay, we're betting on you that you're going to succeed,
Right.
because then we would see it. So that's one of the possibilities. Also, we've found that state credit unions and different credit unions have a lot of financing for franchisees, and also veterans have a ton. So those are other
Mm,
avenues that we're pursuing.
okay. And for what was I going to go here? The don't know if I was going to say that, but so I'm curious also about your kind of content strategy behind this. Like, so you guys are on YouTube and you're talking about TikTok as well. So what's your kind of messaging behind this? Are you just going to be talking about the way people can earn money with this business, or kind of like what's your kind of strategy for the content and creating like marketing behind it as well?
I'm not sure. Right now, I'm just gonna wing it and kind of be like, what is a day in the life like us, like technicians, office people, owners? Um, and I can't disclose legally like a lot of things because I'm a franchisor. So I have to kind of figure out a way to share how profitable it is without
Mm,
being able to share how profitable it is. So there's some things that I have to get around that. But I think showing that like how our work life balance is now that we've owned this business for a few years and we have a franchise, what that looks like, and just showing how a lot of people would be attracted to that. I think a lot of people want that now. Like you said, with when you used to work in tech, I used to work, and no matter how many more partners I would get or how many more locations I would expand to, I never got more money. I would put in so much extra work, and I would like expand our program so much, and I never got more money, and I never really got that much acknowledgement. Nothing changed for me, and I just worked because I loved having new ideas and creating new things, but I never saw the fruits of that. So,
mhm.
I think showing people that they can see the fruits of their labor and how much energy that gives you, and money might work. So that's kind of my angle, but I don't know yet.
Yeah, I think people are, I think something that resonates with people is that they want to be able to receive the more they work, they want to have a proportionate amount of return for the amount of work. So a lot of times when they're stuck in a 9 to 5 job, or even if they're a technician and they're just doing garage door repairs, or they're working for somebody else, Well, a lot of times it doesn't matter how hard you work that particular day or that particular month, you're going to be capped at that salary. So, being a business owner, a franchise owner, is going to, potentially there's no cap on how much you can earn, and it's
Mhm.
unlimited. And that's really
Mhm.
exciting for a lot of people, I believe, as well.
It is, like, if you have a good new idea and you implement it at your, Facebook or wherever you're working, it's just like, "Oh, good job, Steve," but if you do that here and you see it happen, it's great, and the other thing I like about garage doors is we pay our technicians commission, so they
Mm,
actually do get to see more if they work hard.
mm,
Because some people have 4 kids and they'd like to see them every once in a while, so they wanna work Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, or you know what I mean? Like, they wanna work less. So, we try to be so in the way they get to be their own
yeah.
bosses in a sense. So I
Hmm.
really like being in that atmosphere in general, but then some people don't want to own a business. I mean,
Yeah.
there's several techs that have worked for us that have tried to own one and they're just like, never mind.
Yeah.
So it might not be your thing right now, but for those people who see what we're doing and they're attracted to that, like the way I am and the way that we are, it's such a great idea.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you were a part of a few networking groups. What are some networking groups that you might recommend fellow entrepreneurs look into?
So you just have to Google on Meetup in your local town, wherever you are, and go visit a few. They have so many different ones, like women only, professional businesses where everybody's like in suits and ties, and like then they have other ones that are like all just like Reiki and different types of folks. So I went and visited like five before I found the perfect fit for me, and it was just an eclectic mix. And so they only allow one business type of business in, and then you all learn from each other. So there's like one
Mm,
lawyer, one real estate agent, and that's been so great just to share across industries. I learned so much from that. And they all use us for garage door services and they all recommend us.
mm, yeah. So I'm curious about, when I think of networking these days, I'm mostly like an online guy, but do you have a preference of online versus kind of in-person networking, and, kind of the strategies for either one?
I mean, I need to get into online networking now more than for the franchise sales, right? But for the local sales, we fix garage doors, around here. So I need to meet people around here. So for
Hmm.
me, that's what works. And that's what I would recommend to any of our franchisees. But for the
Sure.
franchisor, like I definitely need to get into online networking. I feel like I'm going to need
Definitely.
like your advice about online networking and TikToking and content creation for that.
I think TikTok would be a good one for this. TikTok has amazing reach, organic reach. Putting a link in your bio and then having videos. People love learning about ways they can make money and business ideas, and then it's a really great way to get organic reach. And that's how
Mhm.
a lot of people find me, and I think it's gonna be a great strategy for you guys as well.
Great.
Um, who have you learned from online? Like, are you following any influencers or business people, figures on Instagram or Facebook or any place, people that you learn from regularly and like to aspire to be more like?
I learn, I feel like the most from our competitors.
Ah,
I stalk our competitors. I
okay,
watch how
okay.
they respond to their Google reviews. I watch, what they're doing in the industry, and I learn what I like and I learn what I don't like, and I make sure that we're always differentiated from them. Like that's my most important thing. And then I do see just a lot of regular people through TikTok that have their own business, and that's the stuff that I find most inspiring. So there's no like, I follow very Gary V. I just enjoy him, but yeah, and I do get inspired by him, I would say. But a lot of just regular things and picking apart competitors, big time. I
Hmm.
spend a lot of time doing that.
Yeah. And I'm curious about if there's what's the one thing that you're looking to do this year in order to grow your business? I guess probably the franchise part of it. Would you say it's a franchise part of it? And if so, like, what are
Yeah,
you
no,
planning
there's a
on?
few things because that's growing the franchise. So selling franchise would be growing the franchise. But as far as the garage door business here,
Yeah.
our local location, we're doing the government contracts. So we'll get approved for that and be a government vendor this year. We've also hired some key staff. So we've hired three more technicians and two more office people in this like kind of big reach of expansion, and they have a lot more experience, and we're paying them a lot more than we usually do. So everyone's kind of leveled up its pay and sort of experience, and I think that's going to expand us a lot. And then we're splitting off that Greensboro location, so that other one, and starting to make it into its own, and that's going to expand us, because then we can have another map listing there, and then you get more calls from that area, and then we're going to sell that as a franchise. So those are kind of like the three things,
Okay.
yeah, that we're doing this year to expand.
Awesome. Do you have any books or audiobooks or like YouTube videos or anything that you would recommend that people check into to learn more about business?
Ooh, I'm the worst at this. No, no. I listen to podcasts for pure pleasure, and I listen to them while I work, which is great. But I like comedy stuff and sci-fi books, and I don't read a lot about business. But I've
Awesome.
always had businesses. I've ran nonprofits in the past, but haven't learned about it in a formal way.
Yeah, I didn't ask you about what you used to do. What did you do before you got into garage doors?
Yeah, so before I got into garage doors, I used to think money was evil, and so I went and got I got my master's degree in international affairs in New York, and I was the executive director of a nonprofit in Kenya, and I started a social entrepreneurship for workplace democracy, like a literal Marxist pursuit with the America's most renowned Marxist. So I had a very different background. And then
Yeah.
after I moved out of New York City, I moved to North Carolina, and I started for this amazing boarding school here in North Carolina. I started their summer programs. I have a weird history in summer programs as well. So I started the summer program. It was basically a business at this boarding school, and I grew it from zero, to 600 kids coming throughout the summer. I had 2 locations, and that's when my husband was like, what is this business engine doing for something else, and like not getting treated well or getting more money? And so then I started to see sort of the benefits. And my dad has had his own business. He had a fireplace business. So I kind of grew up in like a small business
Mm.
home. So I knew what that looked like. I was like, wait a minute, I could do this. And I've been so happy to make the switch. It's been so rewarding.
Yeah, first it has to come from that mental switch, right? Of like, hey, I can do this. And then you make the actual physical jump and then you start your own business. And that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then
Yeah.
you see the rewarding. And then, like, every time you hire, like, we just hired this new woman who's going to work in the office, and she bought a puppy. Every time we hire someone who works in the office, they buy a puppy. And it makes me so happy because they can work remote, and then
Uh,
when you see your technicians make enough to buy a new house or make enough to buy a new car, it's like, it's the most rewarding thing. It
yeah,
really is.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So what motivates you? What keeps you going as an entrepreneur?
Um,
Especially when things get tough, like when when you're eating those shit sandwiches, like what makes you want to keep going?
Um, the rewards are definitely greater than the traumas. The employees really do keep me going. My partnership with my husband, we get along, we love it. We talk about it all day. I love seeing ideas and efficiencies land and work for people. So I get a lot of creative self-expression in that way. It's weird. It's like that is my self-expression, is ideas that work. So this is the only place that you get to do it. I always remember being at my old jobs being like, we should try to do this and we should try to do this. And people be like, oh, I don't know if that's going to work. Or, so just getting to implement your ideas and try it out, and no one can tell you no, is nice.
I totally agree with you when you say that I believe that entrepreneurship really is a creative endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
You get to use your imagination, and then you get to put your ideas into real life. And then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes and it's and something doesn't work. Well, that's when you really have to become creative, and it's really a creative endeavor. And people don't really realize that, oh, it's an evil corporation. Well, it's really a creative activity for a lot of people.
Yeah, totally. And like when I thought about franchising, I was like, ew, like I don't know what I think about, like I don't want the whole world to be McDonald's.
Mm,
And then I was like, but what we have to offer is something special, and it's us doing it, and you'd be working with us, and we're never going to try to be McDonald's. And so it's like, why wouldn't I want to give people this opportunity? So
yeah.
it's really had to switch my mind frame of, you can do things differently, and franchise or small business or garage doors. No one thinks garage doors the back end looks the way it does over here. Because for a lot of garage door companies, they don't look like us. They don't look young.
Right.
They don't look modern. They're not using these tools this way. They don't have people who like care this much. So you can be different, in the way that you're a woman doing this and like finding true joy from it. So you can be different and find your own way to do it. That is an expression. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you had any additional challenges that an entrepreneur, a male entrepreneur may not encounter as a female entrepreneur? Have you had any additional challenges during your journey?
Yeah, for sure. I think all the normal ones, when I'm taking donuts to the property managements, I don't know how seriously I'm taken about it. But I think I have to have an extra level of confidence. I think I have to have an extra level of grit to be sort of treated in the same way. Um, I think it gives me an advantage in some other cases. And so for me, my influence on the business because of being a woman has been what's part of our success. So I see the advantages of it in this case. I definitely am the only one at conferences that does anything like me.
Yeah.
um, and I would love more of a voice of women in home services, but I'm just trying to be that over there.
Amazing. Well, you certainly will stand as a inspiration for any, not only just home services, not only garage door entrepreneurs, but home service entrepreneurs, females that want to jump into the industry. You guys have been doing an amazing job, 10x your revenue in the past couple of years, and starting the franchise and really just getting going. You're really just hitting your third gear right now. And I'm really
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to watching you guys grow and learning about, seeing you guys' progress in the future. So I want to thank you
Absolutely.
so much for taking some time to share with your journey with us today. And yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for chatting with me. Let's chat again in like a year and see what
Absolutely.
other lessons we've learned.
Yeah, I look forward to checking in with you.
Okay,
All right. Well,
great.
thank you very much. I'll talk to you
Thank
soon.
you. Bye.